اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام. من جميع ظلمي وجرمي وإسرافي على نفسي وأتوب إليه. Hussein, I am far away from you, and my heart is flying towards you. Hussein, my master, I am far away from you, and my master, I am sending my salam to you. Let's all together recite Ziyarat Ashura. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya khiyarat Allah وابن خيرته. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفناي. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن هاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبا، ولعن الله ابن مرجانا، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي يكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني تلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيا بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسب لك الحرب وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن هاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي يكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله وأن يرزقني تلب ثاريكم مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقفى فيها نبي صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية، عليهم منك اللعنة أبدا الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحا به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أول ثم لعن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانا وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. همه به سجده. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد.
لقوم يسمعون وإن لكم في الأنعام لعبرة نسقيكم مما في بطونه من بين فرث ودم لبنا خالصا سائغا للشاربين ومن ثمرات النخيل والأعناب تتخذون منه سكرا ورزقا حسنا إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل الثمرات فاسلكي سبل ربك ذلول يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون والله خلقكم ثم يتوفاكم ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل الأمور لكي لا يعلم بعد علم شيئا إن الله عليم قدير والله فضل بعضكم على بعض في الرزق فما الذين فضلوا براد رزقهم على ما ملكت أيمانهم فهم فيه سواء بنعمة الله يجحدون والله جعل لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا وجعل لكم من أزواجكم بنينا وحفادة ورزقكم من الطيبات أفبالباطل يؤمنون وبنعمة الله هم يكفرون.
MashaAllah, Samir, very beautiful recitation. Before we request Sheikh to come to the member, couple of announcements. Tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, the Red Cross blood donation campaign will happen here at ISCQ. So you can donate the blood. You can register on the link given on the website or on the WhatsApp messages. And please come tomorrow and day after tomorrow during the daytime to donate the blood. So the Red Cross trucks will come at 8:30 p.m. So if you have parked inside it, so please remove the car at or before 8:30 p.m. So after the majlis, please take your car to the streets so that the trucks can come inside. One more thing, we are thankful to one brother who donated this carpet. You can see the beautiful new carpets here. So it is due to the generosity of the brothers who are spending their money. And another brother donated that carpet laying charges. So there's significant contribution of the brothers. So we request all of you, please buy the ticket, $150 at the entrance. So that will help the center to keep going, and that will contribute to the Muharram programs. And as we mentioned yesterday, that we will use those tickets, and one of the person will be sent to Karbala during Arba'in using raffle draw. So, Bar Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjil faraja. So we are very thankful to Sheikh Abbas Jaffer for his lectures and beautiful insights on how we can work on our ruh and soul. So can I request Sheikh Abbas Jaffer to come to the member and recite today's majlis. Bar Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat.
ये ठीक है لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى عطرته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. These are the nights where in 61 Hijrah in Karbala, the enemy was trying to terrorize Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what was going on in their hearts. Sometimes when we are under stress and tension for a short time, that's one thing. But if it goes on for days and days, and there is uncertainty, people are not sure whether they will ever go home again, people are not sure what is the plan with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and the enemy. Discussions are happening from this night onwards between Imam alayhi salam and Umar ibn Sa'ad. So we will see all these things, and we can only admire the resolve of these people. That Mawla was saying to them, you can go. He said, you can go. And some went, but many of them stayed. And we say, Ya Allah, let us be like those kind of people who, if we had been there, we would have been successful like them, inshallah ta'ala. We've been talking about different aspects, to inculcate, to put in ourselves, so that in this dunya, we take with us, when we leave, that shukran, which will be useful for us. Not that we live the few years Allah gave us here, and then in the next world, we go there and there is nothing for us. Even somebody, when he comes from, I came to Brisbane, I had a bag. The bag had those kind of things that I feel I need here, isn't it? If I came without anything, then in this place, I wouldn't know what to do. We go into the next world, we have to have taken a bag with us, something with us. The currency of the next world, that which is useful in the next world. Not to just go and find that to our horror that there is nothing waiting for us there. We have not sent forth. This idea of sent forth is there throughout the Quran. On that day you will see what you sent forth. So this is something that we need to be constantly thinking about. What have I sent forth today? What have I sent forth in the last week? We were speaking about different things. Amongst them, yesterday I spoke about the importance of acquiring knowledge. Everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes for you as rizq, but He leaves knowledge and its acquisition up to you. You can acquire or you can ignore. And knowledge isn't that I know lots of stuff. I can speak about a lot of things. I'm aware of current events. You sit with me and you bring up a subject, I normally have something to say about it. I'm well read. This is not knowledge. We said yesterday that knowledge is taking something from pure sources, but then applying it. Without application, it's information too. It's not knowledge. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ in the Quran. That only those who have knowledge are people who will fear God, who will have that awe of God at every moment when they have knowledge. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that if you feel in your heart that kind of awe, that kind of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then know that you have got some knowledge. And as long as you don't feel that ever, you should know that you are jahil. Despite whatever people call you, they can call you professor, they can call you teacher, they can call you ustad. But if you do not have that fear when you think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the possibility of upsetting Him or defying Him or disobeying Him, it doesn't make you get goosebumps. You have no knowledge. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. So, it is important that we distinguish between valuable, useful, beneficial knowledge and just trivia that we carry in our heads. You know, sometimes you could have someone with so many coins in his pocket that his jeans are falling down, isn't it? And if he looks at all these coins, is he rich? Or the one who has one note only in his pocket has got more money than him? Sometimes we think, oh, I know a lot. I know many things. You know, nothing really deep. So knowledge is important for us to get. And the way that knowledge increases, we talked about many things yesterday, is by practice. Just practice what you know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Hadith Qudsi says, whoever acts on what he knows, Allah will teach him what he doesn't know. This is a promise by God. Act on what you know and I will open your mind, your eyes of the heart to that which you did not know. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us in this, that we spend our time in acquiring this knowledge by acting on it, inshallah ta'ala. In this series of talks, we've been talking about things that we can do, small things sometimes, that makes us reorient ourselves towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's easy sometimes to go a little bit off track, you know. I use Google Maps sometimes, and if I'm just looking at the route, you know, to see what's coming ahead, and then I leave it, it says to me, would you like to recenter? Do you have that in Australia too? Muharram is time for recentering. Would you like to recenter with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? So that you look back at the kind of stuff that you forgot. That was important, but you just got a bit distracted. We recenter because there is a route to take. There is a road that we need to walk on, and we need focus. In that, what I want to say today, in one way, is a message I give normally to a lot of communities where there are young families, and I've already spoken with some parents here too. And that is that this journey is not one you walk alone. You walk with your family. In fact, you have responsibility for your family. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Sharia has an expectation. In Surah Tahrim, that very famous verse, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. O people who believe, O believers, protect yourselves and your children from a fire, وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ, a fire that will be fueled by stones and human beings. Right? So your immediate responsibility is to yourself and your children. Both men and women are being addressed here. Alladhina amanu here is believers. This is a cardinal thing. All right? And if, for example, you have been given children, it is with an associated responsibility. You have to realize that. And this responsibility includes taking them towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, it's interesting that everything important that we do in life, everything responsible that we do in life, we need to be trained. We cannot do it just because we feel like it. I cannot just go as a 16-year-old and start driving a car. I need to be trained. I need to go to driving school. I need to get that provisional license. I need to put an L plate after I pass and so on. There is a process. Things that are important require training. Except for parenting. Anybody who can become a parent without any sort of previous experience, previous training or responsibility. No L plate. Suddenly, you have this kid. And what do you do next? Islam has a whole series of teachings, guidances on this issue. First and foremost, you'll find that if you look at the Quran, it doesn't have many verses, or it has no verses rather, that talk about loving your kids. It doesn't say love your kids. Have you ever wondered about that? It doesn't say, oh believers, love your kids. Or, these are your responsibilities to your kids. Yes, but the love aspect is not mentioned. Whereas, it says about parents, especially when they get elderly. And the reason for that is that all creatures, not just human beings, every creature, the moment there is an issue of their offspring, their young ones, there is a huge love that is naturally present, right? Instinctively present. You know, with the animals too, when you go near an animal that is trying to protect its cubs, it is particularly a dangerous thing to do because they will attack for their kids, for their cubs, for their offspring. The same way, the moment the child is born, the father and the mother, there is something inside them that gives them a huge amount of love and feeling of protection and nurturing of that baby. However, the love needs to extend to all aspects for the well-being of the child. Some people will sacrifice a lot for their kids. For example, they will even, I know families that have moved cities or moved areas in the city for schooling, for health reasons, and so on. Right? People have moved countries because their kids have eczema, they need to be in a different, weather, they need a different kind of weather, they have moved countries. People for schools, special schools that they need, etc., have moved cities. Right? But at the same time, that's one thing. The physical well-being of the child and the schooling is important. But there's another aspect, which is the nurturing of their soul. The nurturing of them on the path towards God. This is equally important, if not more important. Right? We cannot take the nurturing of the children as something that's going to automatically happen. This is the message of today. Right? You bring your kids here, alhamdulillah, there are lots of kids. You need to know where your kid is. If he's floating around and you don't know where he is, what is he getting up to? What is he doing? You don't know that, right? You need to have him sitting next to you. You need to be training him and say, look, this is Abu Abdullah's majlis. Sit with me and together we will learn. And in the car we will talk about it and say what was discussed. Right? This is important. Otherwise what happens is that a very critical window passes. You know, let me give you a little story to try to explain what I'm saying. It is said that the French, they have a delicacy, they like to eat frogs. Frogs' legs are supposed to be something that they love. We are not allowed to eat frogs or their legs, okay? But they cook them in a very interesting way. So they take a pot, about a 1-foot pot, put water in it, start to boil it, then they've grabbed some frogs or got some frogs which are alive, and they toss them in there, in the boiling water. Initially, you'd think that the frogs would jump. A frog's hind legs, back legs, can jump up to 4 feet. This pot is only 1 foot. But the frogs don't jump because the water's nice, it feels good. For 2 reasons, apparently, the frogs don't jump. One is because they like warm water, and second, because they know for sure that they can get out whenever they want. Because it's only 1 foot, they can jump 4 feet. Time comes when this water begins to boil, and frog decides, hold on, this is enough, too hot now, time to leave. So it jumps, but to its horror, it finds that its back legs and the muscles of them have been cooked. They are half cooked in that warm water, and now they can only jump 1 or 2 inches. That which they had so much confidence about is not there anymore. And their last moments as they die in that, the thought is that we should have got out of here a long time ago. We should have acted a long time ago. This is exactly the metaphor I use, and it is, believe me, I have seen it time and time again in the nurturing of these kids. All right? You have a window. The child is 4, 5, so you're super confident because when you say to him, sit down, he sits. When you say to him, don't do this, he obeys. So you have this confidence that I can sort this kid out whenever he wants, let him do what he likes. Comes a time. Now, the child behaves in a manner that you think, this is not acceptable. This is not good. I don't want this in my house. So you say to him, stop. And he says to you, I won't. You can't believe it. What is he saying? You say to him, sit down. He said, no, don't sit down. I'm going to do what I want to do. Like it? You don't like it? Tough. And you're thinking to yourself, is this my son? I have had, emails, my son has been possessed by a jinn. He hasn't been possessed by a jinn, Habibi. He has just reached a certain age where he wants to assert his own independence and what he wants to do himself. The trouble is, how have you trained him in that period? Do you think that boys who do whatever they want and girls who do whatever they want, do you think there won't come a time when you won't be able to control them? It will come. At that time, it will be late. It will be too late. Because then you are now having discussions which are about negotiation, about how much can you give and take, about having to compromise. Although you dislike it, you have no choice because you're dealing with a young adult whose mind is now in a different direction from what you think. And that is because you let your eye off the ball at a very critical time. This is something I can't stress enough, especially young parents. I tell you, think about it all the time. That these kids need to be with you. You need to be invested in their nurturing, father and mother. Even if it means taking a little cut in your income at home. Sometimes something will have to give. Yeah, both mom and dad are working. Kids are being raised by the neighbor down in the same block. Yeah, till mom comes home, till dad comes home. For those 2-3 hours, the kids are with neighbors. You won't get the result you want. You won't have the kind of kid you want because you did not take part in the nurturing of them. And something has to be sacrificed just for those few years. I tell you, the Jesuits, do you have Jesuits here too? The Christian movement? They have a saying, they say, give us a child for 8 years, we'll give you a Jesuit for life. What does it mean? That if you pay that kind of time, give that kind of time to nurturing of a kid, From that age to about, say, maybe 9, 10 years, you will have a Muslim for life. You will have somebody who is got the basics in him. So I want to just share 3 or 4 things today as kind of suggestions to parents. In addition to what has already been spoken, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The first is that parenting shouldn't happen without preparation. Just what comes to mind and then you do it. Rather, you should seek out good practice from other parents. So if you know your child is 5, your friends, make friends with someone whose child is 6, 7. You can discuss with one another that, look, this is happening here. Do you have any suggestions? How did you tackle it when it happened to your kid? So what you're doing is you're sharing best practice. Or if you don't have access to that kind of thing, go read. There's a lot of secular stuff out there about raising kids in good information, useful information. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. Because what happens is oftentimes these books that are written more objectively. They're written by scholars or by professors, etc., objectively. Whereas you are kind of a product of the way you were brought up. A lot of parents will parent the way they were parented, right? Not knowing another style. And so mistakes of previous generations get perpetuated in next generation. No. So go read about it. There are many things that you will read that you think, wow, okay, I didn't think of it this way. Maybe in issues of disciplining, in issues of nutrition, in issues of just general education, in issues of religious education and so on. So, to be good parents, we have to be better people. Now that the kids have come, there are certain things you can't afford to do. If you were relaxed about namaz at home, you have to ask yourself, if we don't pray, the kids are not going to pray. If we don't have an ethos of religion at home, then the kids won't imbibe that. If we don't have respect for the days of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, kids won't learn that. And while I'm on that topic, I tell you with all my heart, when they are young, these little ones you are bringing to mosque, bring them, even bring the babies to the majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. There is a special spiritual benefit in that. But from childhood, put deep into their hearts love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. You know why? Amongst many other benefits, many times when we talk to youngsters, because sometimes youngsters, some of the teenagers, they get into bad company, they get into bad habits, their parents are very worried, they say, can you talk with Sheikh, this and that. What I found is 2 distinct conversations. One is with kids who love Ahlul Bayt, but they just got into some bad habits. You can use Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam's love as a hook to bring them back. Believe me. By saying things like, we are followers of Amirul Mu'mineen. We are people who cry on Abbas and Hussein. Can we do this kind of thing? Read. It will fall on receptive ears. If there is, from childhood, that love. But if there isn't, then you can't have that conversation. You don't know how to bring them back. You have to try different tack. So it really, really helps when from childhood they are celebrating their allegiance and their attachment to Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Learn parenting, and so that you can apply the proper strategies. You take a blunt saw and you try to cut wood. What's going to happen? Either you won't be able to cut, or if you cut, you will cut crooked, isn't it? If you try your own solutions to everything at home, you may get it wrong with the kids. So learn to do it properly. Kids, we are told in hadith as well, and this is true, that they pick up much more from what they see than what they hear. All right? If you think, okay, fine, can, mom says, you got to have a chat with him. Or dad says, we got to chat with her or him. Chatting is good, but it won't get you as far as role modeling certain behavior. If they see that mom and dad actually believe in this so much that they do it, it is much more effective than you saying to them, you need to do this, you need to do that. Role modeling is super important. If you want to live one way and you want kids to be another way, it's never going to happen. Never. You don't pray namaz, you don't pray namaz on time, and when your phone, alarm rings, you say to your son, go pray. Go pray, it's namaz time. And he can see that you're sitting watching something on TV. Or you say to him, when did you last do your Quran? Do your Quran. And he knows, I can't even remember the last time I saw you opening Quran. Now you want this kid to be a kind of creature that you have created in your mind of an ideal Muslim, but you don't want to role model it yourself. It can't work like that. They will recite Quran when they see you recite Quran. They will pray Salat on time when you say, Baba, it's Salatul Dhuhr, I'm praying, you pray next to me. This is much more effective. An interesting thing, a study in the States showed an interesting statistic, and that was, they did quite a large survey. 80%, it's a huge number, 80% of the communication between parents and kids is about do this, don't do this. It's just about scolding. 80%. That means 8 out of 10 conversations you have with your children is about telling them off about something. Why did you do this? Or why haven't you done this? Now, if that is the case, and each one should think about his own conversations. If that is the case, I ask you, when you call out your son or your daughter, can you guys come here please? What's going to go in his head? Okay, I'm about to be told off. This conversation is about something I haven't done or I have done. Can you imagine? When was the last time we turned to our kid and said to him, come here, I want to just tell you, I have been observing you for the last 3 months and I'm really proud to be your dad. The way you're coming along, what kind of decisions you're making, the kind of grades you're bringing, the kind of person you're becoming, I'm really, really proud to be your dad or your mom. When was the last time we said that to anyone? That goes much further than do this and do that. But we need to be able to learn that these children are at this age vulnerable, malleable. What you put in now makes a huge difference later on. All right? And the younger they are, the more moldable they are, the more careful you have to be with them. Sometimes somebody will write to me and say, is it okay if our kids eat some burgers that are not halal? They're going for a birthday party. They're only 6. They're only 7. Do they have to observe halal meat? They're going to a friend's house from school and there's going to be stuff that won't be halal. Thinking that this is only a child. He's not baligh yet. He doesn't have taklif yet. Nothing's wajib on him. So can he eat? I tell you, it is even more dangerous at that time to allow that kind of latitude. You look at a tree outside, a big tree, you take a knife and you put a line in it, it is damaged. But you take a small tree and you put a knife to it, you might kill it. You might stunt it forever, isn't it? It's much more vulnerable at that point than it is when it is grown up. Those children, what you put in at that point, if you put haram food in them at that age or allow it, it has huge consequences. Hearts become, this haram food, I don't know how much of an issue it is here, but so careful you have to be. People take it, light. It's food, man. It's the same stuff. Chicken is chicken. You're telling me you recited a few words on it, it became special chicken? Few words, and this one didn't recite the few words, and that is, poisonous chicken to the soul? Doesn't make sense. So we're just going to eat, It does. Words are important when they are reference to God, isn't it? There was a king who wanted to get married to this woman, and they told him the Maulana isn't here. He has traveled for a day. When will he come? He'll come tomorrow. So now kings are very impatient. So he was super angry about this. When the chap came, the king said to him, you know what really annoys me? I've had to wait all this time for you to say a few words. So you're going to say one or two words now? And this woman's going to become halal? And before you say these one or two words, she was haram? What is this? So you know what the man said to him? He said to him that when you were a small prince, while your father was alive, I realized you're a fool. As you grew up, it became confirmed in my mind that you are indeed foolish. So the king became red. He said to him, Wallah, if you don't stop speaking, I will cut your tongue for this kind of insolence. So the man said to him, why are you getting angry? It's just a few words. I spoke a few words and look at how you have changed. Words matter, especially when they have nisbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they matter. Yes, you do zabiha with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is halal, and it has that effect. On the day of Ashura, one of the statements Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said to them, to the people, Allahumma salli ala. When he was discussing with them and trying to explain to them that to stand against him would earn them eternal misery, then he said to them, do you know why you stand against me? فَقَدْ مُلِئَتْ بُطُونُكُمْ مِنَ الْحَرَامِ. The reason you have squared it in your mind that it is okay to stand against me is because your bellies are full of haram. وَتُبِعَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ. As a result, your hearts have been closed and sealed. Sometimes, and I've seen this, sometimes I'll be talking to someone who's a little bit moved away from religion, and I find it really difficult to convince them of simple truths. I ask them, okay, we're discussing religion and you've come with all these questions. Can I ask you, are you maintaining halal food? If they tell me no, I find it very hard, then I see the reason why they don't understand. And if they say yes, that I am maintaining halal, you find that the heart is more receptive, more soft. This is true. All right. This hard-heartedness, we don't know how the soul works. We don't know how the issues of the heart work. We can't use rational theories and concepts to try to figure out spiritual truths. We can't. They are two separate streams. And on the rational issues, on the spiritual issues, we take guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He says that I know you've had a shower and you're squeaky clean, but you want to do namaz, you have to do wudu again. And you say, well, the hand is clean, you want me to wash again? Yes. Because this has a connection with the soul. If that's what He says, that's what He says. That's how it works. If He says, take my name before this animal is slaughtered, because within that there is a purity that you don't understand, fine, we don't understand, we accept from that. Because without it, these tools by which we perceive God, they become hard, they become weak, they can no longer look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the brothers and sisters, I tell you again, parenting is probably more important than your job that you do, or equally important. And it is something that if parents work on together, they will raise kids, right, who will be source of pleasure and comfort and reassurance for them. Otherwise, you find that just when you have reached that part of your life where you now want to think about working a bit less, relax a bit more, enjoy time with your family, you find that you have got kids who are just making your life hell. You're thinking, how did this happen? How did this kid end up like this? He was such a sweet boy, she was such a sweet girl. Now she comes with drugs, extramarital affairs, drinking, and you're thinking, how did this bala enter into my own kids? Kids will not raise themselves. Or if they raise themselves, if you are not the authority, somebody else will be. Somebody else will teach. And then you have to, they will teach and they will live with you. This is now your kid. Do what you want. So, quality of parenting, type of parenting, you're not going to learn it just by guesswork. Go and read. Go and learn. Make sure your kid is with you, sitting next to you, or you know where he is. Because the moment you don't know where he is, you don't know what he's up to. You don't know what he's up to. If your kid came in here, I mean, in England, we had this situation where some girls, they ended up going to Turkey, then going to Greece, then going to ISIS as brides for those madmen. Muslim girls going as war brides. 3 girls went. Their mom of one of them was being interviewed on TV and she was crying her eyes out. This girl was 16 and around that age. She said, I had no idea. How can you have no idea? And then when they looked at them, there had been a grooming process that took the better part of a year, where conversations were happening, how the girls were kind of like the idea was floated to them, how money was sent to them, how itineraries were given to them, how they were allowed to book plane tickets, and how they went through that particular route to get to the war front with ISIS. And then how they got married there to these soldiers. And the parents saying, I had no idea. If you have no idea, shame on you. Shame on you. You don't know what is happening. When was the last time you had a conversation with your kids? When was the last time you kind of like figured out what they were up to? So, there is work to be done. When we have this kind of work put in, then we realize that the children we saw in Karbala, they were not there by accident. They did not have these characters just like this. There was work done on them. They came from the house of Ahlul Bayt, and there was nurturing done on them, and it was very visible. Today, I want to speak a little bit about what is happening in Karbala. You know, by 7th night, Umar ibn Sa'ad had been talking with Imam alayhi salam. In truth, Umar ibn Sa'ad initially was trying to find a way that he could keep Rai, the governorship of Tehran, at the same time not have to fight Imam al-Hussein. But that wasn't working. On this day, the 7th day, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad in Kufa Mal'un became impatient because it had almost been 5 days, after which he wrote to say, what are you doing? What's going on? So many days, and you're not able to bring this to a head. I told you, either bay'ah or his head, which part you don't understand. If you are unable to do it, if you feel unable, the bearer of this letter is Shimr bin Ziljawshan. You hand over command to him, and he will take over from you. At that time, Umar ibn Sa'ad had a decision to make, and his greed, his love for dunya, took over, and he said to Shimr, it won't be necessary for you to do anything. I will put pressure on. And the first thing they decided to do was on this 7th day, they blocked access of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam to the river. Thirst began to come into the tent of Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam. And now it was only a matter of time. On this day, I want to talk about the sons of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Because when they gave poison to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, at the end, Imam al-Hussein was sitting next to him with tears in his eyes. And he says, Imam al-Hassan said to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, why do you weep like this? He said, Brother Hassan, I weep when I see your plight, I see your pain. Imam al-Hasan said to him, I have been given poison and I shall die by it. But Ya Hussein, there will be no day like your day. What will be done to you is you will be surrounded by 30,000 men, all claiming to be on the religion of our grandfather. But they will assemble to kill you, brother. They will assemble to spill your blood and take your women and children captives. On the plains of Karbala, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam had 3 sons. The first, they call him Al-Hasan, Al-Muthanna, Hasan the second. He fought, but he was not killed. He was wounded very badly, and later on spent some time with some of the tribesmen of his mother, and then joined Imam Sajjad alayhi salam in Medina. His wife was Fatima Kubra, the daughter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and through that Hasan al-Muthanna, the progeny of Imam Hassan, flourished, and there are many even till today. The second one was Abu Bakr bin al-Hasan. He was a little bit older than his brother Qasim. They were full brothers. They had the same mother as well. And he was killed in Karbala finally by an arrow by Abdullah bin Uqba. The third was this boy Qasim. When Imam alayhi salam on the night of Ashura switched off some lights and said to the people, look, I have made the tent dark so that no one is embarrassed. You may leave. These mal'oon only want me. And tomorrow, those who remain will be martyred. Hussein alayhi salam looked, and there was a young man, a young boy pulling his arm, and said to him, Chacha, Ammu, tell me something. He said, yes, Qasim, what is it? He said, is my name amongst the people who will be martyred? Imam alayhi salam said to him, فَقَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ كَيْفَ الْمَوْتِ عِنْدَكَ? How do you feel about maut and death? He said, Ya ammu ahla min al-asal. I look at it as sweeter than honey. This was the kind of children who had come and how they had been raised. They say that on the day of Ashura, after Ali and Al-Akbar had gone, Imam looked up and he saw Qasim standing next to him. He said, uncle, allow me to go. But for some reason, Hussein ibn Ali did not allow. He said, no, you are the symbol of my son, my brother Hassan. I can't let you go. The people who write Maqtal said, like a beggar, Qasim was kissing the hands of Hussein, saying, let me go. Let me go. He began to kiss the hands and feet until Hussein ibn Ali agreed. But for this boy, Imam alayhi salam acted very differently. He hugged his nephew and both of them cried for a long time. Then Hussein dressed him in white himself and placed amama on his head and said to him, Taqaddam bunayya, go. Hamid bin Muslim says, a youth came out towards us. His face resembled the new moon. I still remember that he was wearing sandals and one of the sandal strap was broken. Qasim was too young to put on proper armor. So Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam sent him this way and he fought. MashaAllah, he fought well. Humayd bin Muslim says that one of the enemies said, by God, I will attack him now. And Humayd ibn Muslim said, the people that you see are enough to finish him. Why would you stain your hands in the blood of this young child? But Amr bin Azdi said, I will attack him and make his father and mother weep over him. Qasim looked down to that broken sandal and put his head down to fix it, and Amr al-Azdi hit him on his exposed neck with an iron bar. He brought this boy to the ground. Hussein and Abbas are watching this. The moment Qasim comes down like this, in this cowardly attack, Hussein rushes into the battlefield like a bird, like a falcon. This mal'oon Amr tries to protect himself, but Imam al-Hussein cuts his arm Meanwhile, the Kufan army get excited. They start to shout, Hussein is on the battlefield. Hussein is here. And the horses begin to run from one side to the other side. They try to come in, all of them to attack. In the middle is the body of Qasim. By the time Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam reaches him, he is still alive. You know, they say they trampled the body of Hussein after he died and ran horses on him. But by that time, Imam alayhi salam had already become shaheed. But this boy was trampled when he was still alive. The horses were running on him, and he kept on saying, Ya Amma, oh uncle, oh my uncle. By the time Hussein came to him, he hugged him. He said to him, O Qasim, today the enemies of your uncle are many. I am sorry I could not come before so that I could protect you. Then he carried him back. Humayd bin Muslim says, I saw Hussein take the boy up and hold him to his chest, and his legs were drawing a line in the sand, and he brought him back, and then he put his hand, one hand on the chest of Qasim, another hand on the chest of Ali al-Akbar, who had shaheed already, and said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Oh Allah, you be witness that we are giving everything we have in your hands. Ala la'atullahi al-qawmi dhalimin. Wa saya'alamu alladhina dhalamu ayyamun kalabiyan. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Matme Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Hussein, Ya 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 Hussein. कैदी बनकर पाबंद रसन लाशों से जो गुजरे अहले हरम, हर बीबी अपने प्यारों से होती थी विदा करके मातम। एक बीबी फातिमा बिन्ते हसन, पामाल बदन कासिम की बहन, किसी एक जा से रुखसत न हुई, किसी एक जा से रुखसत न हुई, टुकड़ों में जो था बाई का बदन। कभी इस टुकड़े पर आए कासिम, कभी उस टुकड़े पर हाय कासिम, हाय हाय कासिम, 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 हाय कासिम। तेरी भेड़ गरीब नु नहीं बुलड़ा, तेरी भेड़ गरीब नु नहीं बुलड़ा, तेरे कत्ल दा मंजर हाय कासिम, हाय हाय कासिम, 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 हाय कासिम। विच रस्सियां दे पाबंद हुई, नई भैण गरीब दा वस कोई, विच रस्सियां दे पाबंद हुई, नई भैण दवस कोई होंदे हथ आजाद ते मर जांदी होंदे हथ आजाद ते मर जांदी तेरा मातम कर कर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम 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 हाय कासिम तेनू नाल दुआवां मां उजड़ी मैदान दे पासे टोरिया सी तेनू नाल दुआवां मां उजड़ी मैदान दे पासे टोरिया सी ओदी मेहनत कर पामाल गया ओदी मेहनत कर पामाल गया 9 लाख दा लश्कर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम 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 हाय कासिम सनु रास नाई कर बबला तू बाज कफन मैं बाज रिदा सनु रास नाई कर बबला तू बाज कफन मैं बाज रिदा तेरे कत्ल दे बाद लाइना ने तेरे कत्ल दे बाद लाइना ने मेरी लुट लई चादर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम 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 हाय कासिम होया टुकड़े टुकड़े नाल दहर मेरे बाब हसन दा पाक जिगर होया टुकड़े टुकड़े नाल दहर मेरे बाब हसन दा पाक जिगर हुई टुकड़े टुकड़े विच मकतल हुई टुकड़े टुकड़े विच मकतल तेरी लाश बिरादर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम 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 हाय कासिम नहीं रुक सकदी लाचारी संग फुफिया नाल तैयारी नहीं रुक सकदी लाचारी संग फुफिया नाल तैयारी उठ आखिरी वारी गल लाके उठ आखिरी वारी गल लाके उजड़ी नु विदा कर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम 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 हाय कासिम कभी इस टुकड़े पर हाय कासिम कभी उस टुकड़े पर हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम हाय कासिम हाय हाय कासिम
شنك عالي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة عين الله تحميك من الحسد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد جنك عالي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة جنك عالي وصليت ودعيت
رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة جنك علي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة عين الله تحميك من الحسد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد يقولون روايات عرس جاسم ولا ثابت أمرها وانا اليوم أداعي على عناد الحرب ثابت خبرها وعلى عناد هالسيوف تروح لها وترد قاطع مارها يا مفتون والحسين منيتك حلوة وصغير عمرها مثلك منيتك هاي شفاف تنشاف بعيون الظما مثلك منيتك ماي شفاف تنشاف بعيون الظما وانت احلى منها هواي بالخير يا طير يا محل السما تشبه جنح طيرس مساعد عين الله تحميك من الحسد جنك علي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة عين الله تحميك من الحسد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد يا عريس يريدون يزفون وعروس الحوم يمه بلا ياس ولا شموع وصية والدا حني بدمه صلوات من العين على طولك يا بعد امك يا عمي رحت ليش على الجيش قائد عسكري ولا شي همه بيدك يصبح السيف ممنون مزيون بيدك يا بطل شعب بمثابة شيخ مقدام هجام فارس وارتجل من ذا ومن ذاك ابن الأسد عين الله تحميك من الحسد جنك علي وصليت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة جنك علي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة عين الله تحميك من الحسد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد مثل ما أبو حسين هجم خيبر هجم سيفك عليهم يشردون يرجعون على كل اتجاه انت تجيهم اجا الموت على ديك بعد ما قدروا شلون ايديهم يصيحون اظنها ذا حمزة وبينت سطرات بيهم لو هذا ملك الموت بالكيف بالسيف ظل يقطع رقب سيف اسرع من الصوت بتار للنار سواهم حطب سيفك من الموت اقسى واشد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد جنك علي وصليت ودعيت رديت شمس المعركة للطف مالك طبيت شديت سويت طفك مملكة عين الله تحميك من الحسد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد عمتك وناديك ابن الولد. بارك الله. آية جمالك زمانك قراها كل المعاني بحسنها لقاها ثمرة سنينك يا جاسم إباها تعرف ثمنها الخلود تراها وويلا يا سيدي وويلا جواب دي آية جمالك زمانك قراها كل المعاني بحسن لقاها ثمرة سنينك يا جاسم إباها تعرف ثمن الخلود اشتراها وويلا الله وويلا يا سيدي وويلا وويلا عرسك يمثل دليل الإرادة أجمل عروس شفتها الشهادة عرسك يمثل دليل الإرادة أجمل عروس شفتها الشهادة كمل جهاد بفروض العبادة شابي وميرة مك تعيش بسعادة وويلا شدها شدها وويلا انزل عرسك يمثل دليل الإرادة أجمل عروس شفتها الشهادة كمل جهاد بفروض العبادة شعبي وميرة مك تعيش بسعادة وويلا everyone وويلا يا سيدي وويلا روحك صلابتها زفت عرسها دنياها تضوي على كفك اسمها يا دنياها تضوي على كفك شمسها هالزفية ما تتكرر نفسها والشمشيبة بالتعلم دارسها وويلا واويله الله روحك صيلة بتها زفت عرسها دنياها تضوي على كفك شمسها هالزفة يا ما تتكرر نفسها والشمس شيبة بالتعلم درسها واويله 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 اللهم تسمعك تردد خطابك رايد لعمك تضحي شبابك امك تسمعك تردد خطابك رايد لعمك تضحي شبابك وجهك ضواها وتحير بمصابك يظلم عليها وكتها غيابك يا سيدي بيت الدعاء يا سيدي امك تسمعك تردد خطابك رايد لعمك تضحي شبابك وجهك ضواها وتحير بمصابك يظلم عليها وكتب غيابك واويله بعد واويله واويله امك تسمعك تردد خطابك رايد لعمك تضحي شبابك وجهك ضواها وتحير بمصابك يظلم عليها وكتب غيابك يظلم عليها وكتب غيابك واويله واويله يا سيدي مأجورين
Every breath and every step is for you, Ya Hussein. My eyes weep for you, Hussein. My heart beats for you, Hussein. Every breath and every step is for you, Ya Hussein. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Your name gives meaning to life, it means faith and sacrifice. It gives hope to desperate cries, it gives light to darkness night. It distinguishes the truth from lies, it makes revolutions arise, it makes revolutions arise. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Savior of the Deen of Islam. He is my third Imam. Mawla, you are my Iman. Your blood saved the Holy Quran. Through your breast we have the Adhan. Upon you we send our salam. Upon you we send our salam. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Every arba'een it is shown, millions flock towards your dome, leaving behind all that they own, as if they're turning home. In their blood just one name flows, Ya Hussein runs in the soul, Ya Hussein runs in the soul, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The chest of Ali Akbar, the neck of Ali Askar, the cat arms of your brother, the ladies that will birds, forever will cry and lament. We promise we'll never forget. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. We will never stop to mourn. 3 days if that's far from home. Your injured body lay prone. It was shrouded by arrows. Those without weapons threw stones. The horses' hooves crushed your bones. The horses' hooves crushed your bones. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Only prayer of mine as I am leaving this life, slowly as I shut my eyes and I breathe for the final time. You are the Mawla by my side. I will greet death with a smile. Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Shaheed Karbala.
Ya